Full fathom 5, thy father lies. Of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes. Nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. Sea nymphs hourly ring his knell. Ding dong, hark, now I hear them. Ding dong, bell. Hi, I'm Dave Clark, broadcaster and podcast maker. I've been invited by Alex Green of Green Measures Media to join her as she speaks with Rupert from Drift Records in Totnes about the shop, the Sea Change Festival, and the meaning behind the phrase, let us face the future. So here we are outside Drift Records. So if you've never been here, make a date. Lovely space, beautiful vinyl, great artwork. It's just as it should be presented. Not a finger scroll through on a screen. Racks of LPs you can pick up.
What was your motivation for setting up Drift Record Shop in Totnes?
I started working in Drift when I was about 16. I might have been 17, but I think either way I had to be 18, and I lied because it used to be a video rental shop. It was started by a couple of really great guys called Neil and Tom. I did that until like my early 20s, I guess. Today we're in number 103. Me and my parents bought it, I guess about 15 years ago, maybe a little longer now, and I think it was because we could tell that things were changing in terms of dynamics of High Street.
And then how did Sea Change come about?
We started it because running the record shop, lots of people asked us to put shows on, so we'd kind of offer up people. So we did shows with people like Steve Gunn and William Tyler and Hiscold and Messenger and all sorts of really great people, but it was very much as they were on the up, and people just didn't come out. There is a really apathetic culture to live arts, and I think in the country side, I think it's worse. I think Totnes is particularly bad, unfortunately. I think people's willingness to go to a show is hard enough as it is. Getting them to pay is murder. And I think that if they are going to pay, it's very much for, kind of incidental background music whilst they're out drinking. I mean, this isn't exclusively the case, but I've got a pretty bad opinion of it, to be honest. So then we ran, it was one of the record store days, we did a party with Ninja Tune, and we just said it's a Ninja Tune party and put their logo on a poster, and we just sold it out almost instantly. I think people wanted something of scope. They wanted to go to the thing that has the name.
Where was the venue for these early gigs?
We used a couple. There was a venue on the industrial estate, which is now gone.
Okay.
That was kind of quite an interesting space, and that was a bit more club-like. The Barrel House is great, and I mean, again, I think they do really good work. I think they're desperately trying to get people to come to shows, but I think they'd probably admit to being frustrated that if they put on music, particularly stuff that's kind of interesting or avant or credible, it will be sold out 10 to 1 by a club night. Which isn't really what anybody wants when you're kind of trying to curate those things. So we had to do something where people were going to the thing. So again, once we came up with the name Sea Change, then it was a case of people are going to Sea Change. It becomes less of a, you don't have to explain it, I'm going to the multi-venue, wristbanded, coordinated gig series of events in Totnes High Street. It just became a thing.
And why was it called Sea Change?
The Sea Change record, which came out by Beck, I think it was about 2004.
Right.
It was our record of the year then. It's just an all-time classic, and I think that we wanted to do something that was quite clear in our inclinations. So the narrative is like, we're really fed up of there not being anything here. So it is kind of a sea change, and it is a gesture to music and obviously literature, because it comes from the Tempest, I think it is. So we're kind of...
So not all these,
yeah,
these
totally.
things, and to Totnes as a music hub.
Yeah, I couldn't work out whether it was a warning or a threat, but it was like, there is a sea change coming. That was the thing.
I hear them. Ding dong, bell.
We've also got an interesting strapline now. I don't know if you've had this since the first Sea Change Festival. Let us face the future.
That is 2020.
Okay.
I mean, whether that's exclusively just for this year or whether that's something that we really take on as a mantle moving forward, I mean, that's quite fascinating. We don't really know. But Let Us Face the Future is, it connects us to Dartington. So the 1945 Labour Party manifesto is called Let Us Face the Future. So this document was actually written in principle, a lot of the content at Dartington. So documents that went on to create the welfare state, the NHS, early iterations of what would become the Arts Council. This is all at Dartington, and I think that
Fascinating.
yeah, totally. I mean, we're just in love with the place. I always have been. I think it's amazing the assets that are there, and I think it's amazing the history that's there. And I think that it's a time. I think it's hard, all being part of it, to see just how significant a period of time we're in. I think that historically, when people look back at the last 5 years and maybe the next couple of years, I don't know if it's a decade, I don't know if it's more, I think that it's going to be fascinating to see the ramifications that had on the arts, the culture, just the dynamic of the country. And I think that with Let Us Face the Future, though we're kind of tying ourselves to something that was quite revolutionary 70 plus years ago, we are genuinely, we're asking. And I think that when people talk about a time of consolidation and healing and becoming a country again and not being divided, that has to be the future, because it can't really exist much more in this kind of setup, and the divides can't get worse, they have to get better. So I think with Let Us Face the Future, although we're ardently supporters of remaining in the European Union and kind of forming a network of people that are kind of connected and integrated, then I think we have to think about what our future actually viably is and how we can be a part of it.
It has a sort of sense of courage about it as well, and also a sense of youth.
We have a particular interest in emerging talent, so this year we've booked Working Men's Club, KTJ Pearson, Squid, Dry Cleaning, Porridge Radio, Keelher. So all of these people, for the best part, haven't released any work yet. So there's EPs or singles, but this is very emerging. We did it last year with Black Midi and Black Country New Road and WH Lung, and watching those guys go on a trajectory, it's really exciting to be kind of a small part of that. But then the other part, we do work with really established artists, and this year we've got Shirley Collins coming to the festival.
So what do you hope people will take away from the festival?
I hope that they found it really unique, really rare, really different, really special, really intimate, completely unlike anything else. We've got buildings and all sorts of structures that enable us to program really quite provocatively, and I think kind of watching people go on that journey has been the best part of it. So I think kind of having the same space last year where Black Midi kind of played incredibly loud, virile music, and then the following day the Bagpuss was kind of there, and the music, and I think kind of being able to change those spaces and use elements like the gym building and High Cross House, which are
High Cross House is quite special.
Yeah, I mean they are culturally significant buildings in their own right. We could just open them and have people looking at them, but I think bringing elements in there like the pop group last year, kind of doing the work they did in there and the conversations that we had, it's really exciting. So I think it's an opportunity for people to see quite intimate shows. So Aldous Harding's going to come and headline this year. We're working with Kevix, the local school. Yeah, I mean, again, we're really excited about working with those guys.
Yeah,
so
because
I think
that's very much inspiring
young
totally. People in the arts.
Definitely. Well, I mean, we don't want to call it Battle of the Bands, because that seems like getting everyone in a room and fighting. It's not really quite the antithesis of what we're trying to do. But I think if we're able to support those emerging music makers by giving them opportunity to showcase, again, that wasn't something that was available to us. But myself, James, Joe, Cosmo Jarvis, Ben Howard, we all went to the same school in the same period of time,
right,
and I think that if there had been something, then it would have kind of changed the dynamics of the region, I think, had we all been able to have something to showcase.
And do you want people to feel changed by it?
I think we're really excited with Let Us Face the Future about who we're going to meet, what's going to come out of it, and we get people coming to the record shop who are younger, and I think because of the way we set our stall up with the record shop, I think it is an approachable place, and I like to think that some of the people that are we've already got people who are now working in the industry who we were their first point of contact with physical music and bands and things.
Them on their journey.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
You had this vision, this passion, this dream to make this thing happen, and
whooped everyone up.
You've done it.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be really candid about it. We're not we're not at a point where we're totally financially sustainable. It's really close,
Yeah.
and I think it's happened a lot quicker than it has done for other festivals, particularly of scale.
But it still needs support.
Yeah, it definitely needs support, and we are really, really close to that working. But I think actually, the more I think about it, the support we've had from all sorts of people is always really humbling.
And lastly, who are you most excited about on the bill for this year's festival? Or the one to watch?
It's a really tricky one. I mean, we've got lots and lots of ones to watch. I think it kind of breaks into those categories. I think Shirley Collins, it's going to be, kind of quite remarkable, welcoming Shirley to Dartington, and I mean, I think that's going to be pretty thrilling for people. And I think particularly the younger bands like Working Men Club and Squid and Dry Cleaning, I think that's going to be amazing. I think it'll be pretty special having Aldous back. When I was growing up here, there wasn't anything. There isn't a live music setup, and that's why I left the area. That's why Joe, who's Metronomy, left the area. My friend James, who's Veronica Falls and Proper Ornaments and Ultimate Painting, that's why he left the area. The hope is that as we all gradually kind of come back to the area for the next phase of our connection with the region, is that our people don't have to do that. Or if they're doing that, it's because they want to go and experience other things. It's not because they have to go, because there's nothing left here.
Thank you so much for
You're welcome, no
your
worries.
time.
This poditorial has been produced in association with an article first published in the Spring 2020 edition of Devon Life magazine. This is a How production. Please share.